radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Good evening, Fade to Black, bespoke radio for the masses. Yeah. Today's Tuesday, June 7th, 2022. I would like to welcome everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States. Hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black for KJCR, the Game Changer, and UnX Networks. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking, everybody? How you doing? Well, you know what tonight is. That's right. We have very special guest. Jason Quitt is back for another Quittspiracy. Yeah. Tomorrow night, Freddie Silva is with us. Going to be discussing his new book, Scotland's Hidden Sacred Past. It's right here. You can get your own copy. Can't have mine. It's a good book, too. Yeah. That's tomorrow night. Thursday is another Fader night with open lines all night long. Now, I'm rested. I am of clear and sound mind. Yeah, you've been warned. I'm back on my game, and it's just in time for Jason Quitt. Tonight is Quittspiracy. Yeah. So excited. Have you guys watched the Black Knight Satellite, Beyond the Signal? The link to watch the movie is in the description box below. We've got it throughout social media. It is now in full release. So head over to Forbidden Knowledge and check out the film. It is an amazing film. I'm just going to leave that right there, and I can't wait to hear everybody's comments. It is a great, great film. So go and check that out. Next weekend, not this weekend, next weekend, Saturday, June 18th, I'll be hosting Disclosure Fest right here in Los Angeles, California. One-day event on Saturday, June 18th, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., 16 stages at the Los Angeles State Historic Park. And this is a big event. And what's great about it, it's right next to Chinatown, this beautiful, huge park in downtown LA. And you just look, there's Chinatown. You can see Jack Nicholson. There's the downtown Los Angeles, and it's right there. It's unbelievable. So I'll see everybody there next Saturday on June 18th. All the links for everything that I do, all of the sponsors on the show, everything is right below in the description box. And certainly you can head over to jimmychurchradio.com. It's over there too as well. And of course, it's throughout social media. You can follow me on Twitter at jchurchradio. That's right. The sandbox is hashtag F2B right there on Twitter. Any questions or comments? Hashtag F2BQ. Now, I've got a lot to discuss tonight. And so I'm going to get to everything. I'm going to blow through this and get to Jason. Now, remember, we rate every conspiracy 1 to 4 pipes. That's right. And I want to see all of your ratings, and you can do it over in Twitter, hashtag F2B. Of course, we've got the YouTube chat room that is live, and I'll try to keep that in view. I know it goes crazy every night. I know we've got it on slow mode, and even that doesn't slow things down. But I want to hear from everybody. 1 to 4 pipe rating, not 5, not 0, 1 to 4 pipes. And it's going to be a lot of action tonight. So I've got Twitter open. I always do. But the sandbox is right in front of me. I want your pipe rating right there. Hashtag F2B. All right, let's get straight to it. Let's get to the breaking news. Swarms. Now, you know what, though? Our breaking news here, which our producer, Renee, who handles the news, all right? When I do the news here each night, I'm just going to let you guys know. I might have one story that I want to pop into the breaking news. I'm trying to match Renee's just unbelievable news direction and editing and how she handles stuff. There's that part. But the other thing is the breaking news that we have here is extraordinary. And and this is one of those breaking stories. This is nuts town. And everybody can thank Renee. All right. I would love to claim this as my genius finding this. Swarms of crab-like creatures have been found in a river 1,600 feet beneath the ice in Antarctica. The discovery was a surprise to a team of New Zealand researchers who were in Antarctica to study a river hundreds of kilometers from the edge of the Ross Ice Shelf to see how it is impacted by climate change. As the scientists drilled down into the river with a camera, they unexpectedly discovered swarms of small amphipods. All of this, according to the press release, a creature in the same family as crabs. Professor Craig Stevens, an NIWA physical oceanographer taking part of the expedition, said in the press release, it was a big surprise. Scientists have long been aware of freshwater lakes and rivers underneath the Antarctic ice. However, this is the first time one of those lakes or rivers and the wildlife living within them have been directly observed. No word about contact with ET. I'll let you know. As a result of achieving high imaging dynamic range, a team of astronomers in Japan has discovered for the first time a faint radio emission covering a giant galaxy with a black hole at its center. The radio emission is released from gas, allegedly, directly from the black hole. 3C273 is 2.4 billion light years from Earth. It is the first quasar ever discovered. It's the brightest, and it's the best studied. It is one of the most frequently observed sources with telescopes because it can be used as a standard of position in the sky. That's what they use. They use 3C273. Now there's radio emissions coming from it. In other words, 3C273 is our radio lighthouse. Extraordinary. Let's get this show cracking on this day in history. OTD. New York Magazine publishes the story that becomes Saturday Night Fever. Yeah. You know what? There are people listening to this show right now. I know this is going to come as a shock to some of you. There are some listening to this show right now that didn't live through disco. They weren't there. They don't know about Saturday Night Fever. They do not. Man, those 2 years, I'm going to go with my sophomore and junior year. I got to go freshman. 77. So 77, 78, those 2 years, disco, unbelievable. It was fun. I was a rock and roller, but I got to tell you, man, I love the Bee Gees. I do. There, I said it. I did, man. I had my white jacket. I had my white pants. I had my blue silk shirt. I did. I got pictures to prove it. Let's get to the Fader fact. In 2013, 29-year-old Matthew Clark won a $1,000 prize in a fishing competition, and he won it with a 13-pound bass. He stole that bass from the aquarium at St. Peter Port in Guernsey, United Kingdom. He was later arrested for theft and fraud. And the 13-pound bass got eaten. On everything that I love, that is a fact. That is a fact. He got convicted. He was told by the judge, no more fishing competitions, and you cannot visit any aquarium in Guernsey. For life. Tonight, we have very special guest, Jason Quitt. He is back for another Quittspiracy. And here's the Quittspiracy that's going on. I've had Drew. I had Zenza Bill. I had a list of people go back and count all of the Quittspiracy shows. Nobody came back with the right number. Nobody came back with the same number. Oh, man. Drew even found one that was missing. Yeah, like it's not there. He's like, man, can you send me the Quittspiracy from show number, whatever, 965? I'm like, what? Yeah, So we don't know. Is this number 10? Is it 11? Some say it's number 9. Who knows? It's a conspiracy. Tomorrow night, Freddie Silva is here. I love it. And Freddie also stars in The Black Knight Satellite. His part in the film, his contribution is incredible. And I called Freddie yesterday on the way back from the airport. And I said, Freddie, I just want to let you know, man, I was there for the filming. I was there. I was standing right there. I listened to everything that you had to say. And watching it again in the film, man, you killed it. Freddie Silva is amazing in this film. Well, Freddie is with us tomorrow night. We're going to be talking about his new book. It's his 7th book now. We'll be talking about that tomorrow night. Thursday is another Fader night with open lines all night long. All right. Now it's time for me to hit this River Moon coffee. Man, I'm in a great mood. I got sleep. rivermoonwellness.com. I like my coffee, Doc. I do. You want to see it? It's Doc. Oh, man. River Moon Wellness. Fade to Black blend. Yep. I've been called a lot of things. Shill. CIA. Department of Defense, I've been called this, that, and whatever. And the other, he's a coffee huckster. He sells coffee. Oh, man. I love it. All right. You can go to Amazon, click on the banners over at jimmychurchradio.com. You can click on the links right below in the video description box. Head right over. It is truly the best coffee in the world. It's extraordinary. Met a couple of people at the premiere over the weekend. Literally came up to me and said, Jimmy, I know this film's going to be great. I said, cool, thanks, man. And Billy Carson is amazing. I said, yeah, you're absolutely right. But Fade to Black blend, man, that is the coffee. And I was like, right on. Yeah, so cool. All right. So tonight we're talking conspiracy. Quittspiracy to be specific. Jason Quitt is with us. We've done 9, 10, 11, maybe 12 Quittspiracies in the past. Every show has been great. And, we raise the conspiracy awareness. And over the years, I've been called also the king of conspiracy. Coffee huckster / king of conspiracy. I didn't give myself that label. It was you, but that's fine. And I have always been into conspiracies and trying to figure them out. And the journey on a conspiracy path is the most fun part. Doing the research and things, and once in a while, boom, something gets confirmed. And it's like this, the world slows down. And you find, what? Like the conspiracy behind the Catholic Church taking the 10 commandments in the Bible and taking one commandment and throwing it out, and taking another commandment and splitting it into 2. So you had 10. And I thought, that can't be real. You can't do that. Right? You can't do that. The Bible's the Bible. You can't. And they did. And when I got out 2 Bibles and compared them and saw the change, my world, it just, how the camera zooms up? It was like that. It's crazy. And it happens. Not all the time, but when it does, right? And then you have the Bilderbergs. Bilderberg. And wow, everything about it is nuts. Well, Bilderberg is back. Everything is back now, right? Including Bilderberg, because Bilderberg took some time off because of the pandemic. So there's a Bilderberg gap of 2 years. The Elite Global Summit is being rebooted in a security-drenched hotel in Washington, D.C., with a high-powered guest list that includes the heads of NATO, the CIA, the GCHQ, the U.S. National Security Council, 2 European prime ministers, a healthy sprinkle of tech billionaires, and Henry Kessinger. What a difference 2 years makes. The Western world order, which the Bilderberg Group has been quietly nudging into shape for the best part of 70 years, right now is in all kinds of flux. Because back in 2019, the last Bilderberg met in the flesh. The conference kicked off with the optimistic topics like, and I'm quoting here, a stable strategic order, end quote. And, quote, what's next for Europe? End quote. This year, however, the agenda reeks of chaos and crisis. Top of the schedule is the blandly terrifying item, global realignments, followed by NATO challenges. Yeah, they'll undoubtedly be talking about Ukraine, to be sure. Now, the Washington Conference is a high-level council of war, headlined by the Secretary General of NATO, Bilderberg veteran Jens Stoltenberg. He joined the luxurious Mandarin Oriental Hotel by the Ukrainian ambassador to the United States, Oksana Markrova, and the CEO of Naftgaz, the state-owned Ukrainian oil and gas company. They'll be clinking bespoke cocktails. They will. In the Empress Lounge, with some of the Allied war efforts leading lights, among them, Chrystia Freeland, Canada's half-Ukrainian deputy prime minister. The summit is heaving with experts in Russia and Ukraine this time around, including the Assistant Secretary of Defense for International Security Affairs, Celeste Wallander, and the ex-deputy national security advisor, Nadia Shadlow, who, by the way, has a seat on the elite steering committee of Bilderberg. The conference room is rigged up with video screens, and that's there for the dignitaries, that don't want to be there in person. They want to virtually attend. And it's highly unlikely that Ukraine's president, Zelensky, will zoom in, right? Bulletproof vest and all. Just a few days beforehand, Zelensky met with the Bilderberg and U.S. intelligence representative Alex Karp, who runs Palantir. That's right. The infamous CIA-funded surveillance and data analysis company. Oh, I've got more. Palantir, which was set up by billionaire Bilderberg insider Peter Thiel, has agreed to give digital support to the Ukrainian army, according to a tweet by the country's deputy prime minister. And the participant list is rife with military advisors. And remember, Bilderberg this year, right now, is in Washington, D.C. So who are the military advisors at this year's Bilderberg? Well, you've got the former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff and some hefty cogs from the Washington war machine. Among the heftiest is James Baker, head of the ominous-sounding Office of Net Assessment. Bilderberg is sometimes dismissed as a talking shop or crazed imagining of conspiracy theorists like myself. But in reality, it is a major diplomatic summit, attended this year as ever by extremely senior transatlantic politicians, from the United States Commerce Secretary to the President of the European Council. Now, if you're not creeped out enough, because Bilderberg sometimes is considered by many to be, like the little stepbrother of, that flashy Davos, right? Which is staged annually by the World Economic Fund. The two events have a good bit in common, though, namely 3 WEF trustees at this year's conference. That's right. The World Economic Fund is represented. And, of course, Klaus Schwab, the head of Davos. He's the former member of Bilderberg's steering committee himself, and his great reset, his words, looms large over Washington right now. And with disruption of the global financial system at the heart of his agenda. Now, the conference troubles a lot of people, and a lot of people that have ethics and morals, with politicians thrashing out an energy security and sustainability talk with the CEOs of oil giants like BP, British Petroleum, more on that in just a minute, Shell Oil, Total, right? There's also a post-pandemic health. Yeah, they're going to cover that too as well with CEOs of course, Pfizer, who are locked away for days with Wall Street's investors and no press scrutiny. Nobody's allowed in. Bilderberg. Bilderberg doesn't get coverage. Of course, I'm speaking about it now, but Bilderberg doesn't get coverage. They don't want to do press releases. They don't want the press there. They don't want coverage. They don't want video. They don't want, no, they don't. And you would think that it's because of the heads of state, or maybe, but maybe there's another agenda going on. Maybe they are trying to realign the world. Maybe they're trying to do a big reset. But it's the intelligence community, the CIA, the NSA, probably the FBI is represented there too. And every intelligence agency in every state around the world is at this conference. You have to ask yourself why. Formed in the 1950s as a joint project of the British and U.S. intelligence, the conference has kept its cards so close to its chest that the world's press has given up trying to get in, to try to film, to try to interview, to try to gain any access at all. They've given up. Now, chew on this. This year's conference lineup is led by the current director of the CIA. That's right, William Burns. Old Bill is a former U.S. ambassador to Russia and was elected to Bilderberg's steering committee just a few months before President Biden gave him the gig. 4 other active intelligence chiefs are attending. You have the head of the UK's government communications headquarters. You have the director of France's External Intelligence Agency, the DGSE. You have the leader of the U.S. Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency in attendance. And you also have Biden's National Security Advisor, Jake Sullivan. Former spy chiefs this year include David Petraeus of the CIA, and you have Sir John Sars from MI6. And Sars now is a board member of both Bilderberg and British Petroleum. Yeah, I said it again, BP. And of course, holding court at the hotel bar, Klaus Schwab's mentor, Henry Kessinger. That's right. Kessinger is 99 years old and has been attending Bilderberg's since 1957. Henry has been the OG godfather of Bilderberg for as long as anyone can remember, and he's recently co-authored a book, The Age of AI. Now, if you're not freaked out enough, now you're going to lose it. Because the Bilderberg Steering Committee member, Eric Schmidt, the former head of Google, and this year's Washington conference is all AI. From Facebook's Jan LeCun to DeepMind's Demis Hassabis, all in attendance. Bilderberg knows that however the global realignments play out that they're planning for us, and whatever a reset global financial system looks like, the shape of the world will be determined by big tech. And if the end game is continuity of government, and that's on the agenda, and that's what they say, that continuity will be powered by AI. Now, whatever billionaire ends up making the software that runs the world, Bilderberg aims to make damn sure that it has its hand on the mouse. Seriously. I stole most of this from Charlie Skelton of The Guardian. Dude's a genius. Well done. Tonight, we have very special guest Jason Quitt. He is here for another Quittspiracy. Tomorrow night, Freddie Silva is with us. And Thursday is another Fader night with open lines all night long. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. I'm going to take a quick break. Bilderberg. Raise Hobbs. I'll be right back after this short break. This is Fade to Black. Stay with us.
This is Nicole Church, daughter of you-know-who, and you're listening to Fade to Black on JimmyChurchRadio.com and the Game Changer Network.
You're listening to Jimmy Church and Fade to Black on the X.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net.
Introducing the Game Changer blend from River Moon Coffee that delivers a customized blend made specifically for the Fadernauts. If the game is rigged, change the game. It's a bolder cup with some bite. Game Changer is the coffee of choice for those that prefer an organic dark roast that is slightly lighter and milder, but it's still dark. With wild notes of pecans and chocolate with a rich, balanced, full-bodied cup that is roasted to perfection for a great coffee to start your day, as an after-dinner coffee or anywhere in between. Artisan, small batch roasted to perfection. USDA certified organic, all River Moon coffee is freshly roasted and packaged in the USA. Just go to rivermooncoffee.com or click on the banners over on our site and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. rivermooncoffee.com.
This is the only way forward.
This is Fade to Black. Make contact.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can get our podcast for just $2 per month. All you have to do is click on the podcast banner over at jimmychurchradio.com.
Do you have an interest in the paranormal? Then you'll love the unxnetwork.com. The X is your streaming audio and video for everything supernatural, strange, and mysterious, like UFOs, Bigfoot, ghosts, and so much more. From hosts like Jimmy Church, Whitley Strieber, Micah Hanks, and Christina Gomez. Visit the unxnetwork.com show page for a complete list of all the paranormal programs you'll find on the X. Be sure to follow us on Twitter for updates at KUNXDB. Follow our Facebook group, UnX Network. Find the podcast on Spotify, iHeart, Audible, and Apple Podcast. It's time. It's new. It's the X.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Manson. You're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Jason Quitt is with us. Tomorrow night, Freddie Silva is here. It's Quittspiracy tonight. It's going to be awesome. You know, some say it's number 10, some say 9. Could be 11, might be 12. Who's counting? We're going to break down another list of conspiracies. I'm going to have everything in front of me. We rate everything 1 to 4 pipes. I want to see your rating. All right. I have to unlock my chair so I can do that. Oh, look, a Gibson. You know what I want? I want a black Les Paul like this with zebra pickups. Yeah, I want a black Les Paul. I want a cherry sunburst. I want a gold top. But I want a black Les Paul. I kind of like Peter Frampton. But I want the open pickups, not the gold 3 pickup. No, 2 pickups, zebra pickups, black Les Paul. Man, I've always wanted those. So I got the T-shirt. You know, it's about as close as I'm going to get for a couple of years. Tonight, Jason is with us. He's a graduate of the Institute of Energy Wellness. He's a student of the Algonquin Shamanism and has been training and working with many teachers, shamans, and traditional healers from all around the world. Mr. Quitt is also the author of Forbidden Knowledge, Revelations of a Multidimensional Time Traveler. Is that book? Yeah. The Egyptian Postures of Power, Ancient Gong System, which I have, and the Yosef Codes, which I also have, Sacred Geometry Mandalas. His website is right there, thecrystalsun.com. And I would like to welcome back to Fade to Black, the one, the only, Jason Quitt, who, there he is. He's got his pipe.
Thank you for having me back. And For sure, it's 11.
Is it 11?
It's got to be. Is that a light on my camera or face, or is that just on my screen?
No, that is on my screen too.
Yeah.
It's cool. You got an orb. You've got an orb, dude.
Where's that coming from?
Yeah, it's weird. It's right on your neck.
Jeez. Well, we'll deal with it.
Yeah, what is that, Jason?
It just came up. I have no clue. Jeez. I'm trying to figure it out. The reflection or something.
Oh man.
Okay, let me see if I move the key. Oh, look at that.
Oh, look at that.
Just had to
shift
the screen.
Dude, it was you. It was your glowing aura.
Yes. I prove us wrong. Prove us wrong.
Yeah, that's 4 pipes, dude. 4 pipes out of the gate. 4 pipes out of the gate. You know, I had my aura photographed, and I went through that with the Loon Witch, right? And I've had it done a couple of times, but hers was great. And watching it happen and how it's done with the process is pretty cool. Have you ever had your aura photographed?
I have a couple times, and I like playing with that machine. And
it's way cool, man. It's way cool. And what's really strange is to go have a friend with you, you know, whatever, right? But somebody that you know, and then get photographed back to back and look at the differences, right? It's not the same on everybody. It's not.
Is it the one where you put your hand on an electrical plate?
Yes. Yeah. That's the one that I did. I've done it like 3 times.
So it does measure some type of electroconductivity, and then it takes the picture.
Mm-hmm.
So what I do is I rub my hands together until they're burning hot. And then I put it on and I go, see, my aura is 100%. I win.
See, I am the Dalai Lama. Oh, man, that's funny, man. I got to do that next time. Just straight up, right?
Yeah.
Put it down in your pants for about 5 minutes, just red hot, right? And see what happens. Whoa, I've never seen this before. That's right. I'm back. Oh, man. All right. Where are we? Okay. So, Bilderberg. Right now, I want to start here. It wasn't on our list for tonight. We've got we always have a great list. And tonight it's almost exclusively Jason's list. But Bilderberg.
Yeah.
When did you first? For me, I heard about the Bilderberg. It was in the mid to late 80s. And I read some stuff that came out. It was like in the LA Times or whatever, and Time Magazine, a bunch of articles that come out. And then, you know, the videotape, you know, the Alex Jones videotape. But when did you first hear about the Bilderberg?
Has to be Alex Jones. That's where I first heard about the Bilderberg group and started following all that stuff. I got into Alex Jones actually quite early on. I think right at the beginning, around like 2005. Obviously, he was there earlier, but that's when his videos started to come out.
Mm-hmm.
But that was a lot of fun back then to watch Alex Jones. Still is fun, I guess.
Yeah, I was on a film shoot. Right, I'm on set. And it must have been around that same time, 2007, 2008, you know, like, you know, right in there. And somebody came up to me, and I had just started doing sports radio. And somebody came up to me and he goes, "Hey, man, Alex Jones." Who? Right? And dude, Alex Jones, you've got to, you know, you talk about this UFOs and all this stuff, you know, with my friends, right? You got to check out Alex Jones, man, and Bilderberg. I was like, yeah, Bilderberg. Okay, what now? What's going on? And and so I did the jump over to Alex Jones in like 2008, And it was pretty funny. I want to stay on Bilderberg, but
I just love that the conspiracy from back then of the Bilderbergs, it was so hidden back then, or tried to be hidden. And now it's just so open, and it's in the media. They talk about it, and World Economic Forum, the WHO, they're all talking the same language, the same people. So it's like, we've entered the world where it's no longer a conspiracy. They tell us everything they want to tell us.
Well, and see, the thing is, when I first, because I heard about Bilderberg, right? And I started to check out Alex Jones. I stopped and went, this is my guy, right? I'm digging what's going on here. And I felt that he was exposing but that was then, the Alex Jones of 2022. I haven't listened to Alex. Man, in probably 10 years. It's been a while, and it just, I don't know why, for me, I started to pull back a little bit. And then there were some other things that happened where I was like, man, I can't really go there. But there were things that Alex talked about that were right there for everybody. And I don't want to say, like they were true or they came true, but he was right about a few things, especially early on. And he was an eye-opener for me, for sure.
Yeah, there's things that he spoke about 15 years ago that really still holds water. In fact, proven to be correct now. Back then it was crazy. It's true now. And, he was, he still has the same energy. That's all I got to say. And I don't really watch him now. Over the past couple of years, I haven't really watched him too much. Just because it's kind of depressing hearing the same thing for 15 years.
Well, you know what? You get the same thing from any media. Yeah. Not only, Alex Jones, but it's the same thing from Fox or CNN or MSNBC. I just can't do it. I flew on a plane this weekend, right? And so I did 24 hours of flying one day out and back. And the lady next to me, I flew first class, okay? So I'm in first class. And the lady next to me, I'm watching, flying out, I watched Dune. I went back and watched Dune and fell asleep. Coming back, I slept the whole way. I put something on and fell asleep. But the lady next to me is watching CNN live. Right. And so I'm glancing over and I can't hear it. She's got headphones in and whatever, but I could read what's going on the bottom of the screen. And that nauseated me. I was like, that's why I don't watch the news right there. And this lady for 4 hours, CNN on the screen, just taking it all in. I can't do that. I just can't do that anymore. But Alex Jones, yeah, some things can. They're listening to you through your light bulbs, and there's something to that, Now it's weird. We laughed then, and now with smart everything, I wouldn't doubt it, man. They can listen to you anytime they want. They just
See, the thing about, doing the Quittspiracy or any conspiracy show today in our time, it's comical because we're living in the time of the conspiracies of the past 20 years we've been yelling at our screens. We've been going on social media. We've been doing shows telling the world, watch out. This stuff is coming. They're not hiding it, and be careful, just be aware. And then, post 2020, it's like, okay, you hang up your hat and hang up your tinfoil hat and say, my job is done. It's here. It's like, what else is new? This is life.
I got to tell you, man, nobody's made me laugh more than Alex Jones. I mean, the dude can get wound up. Stop for a second. I don't have the ability to do that, but just imagine if I did. Right. Like live on the air and just lose my shit. Right. just take my clothes off, just tipping tables over, knocking stuff. I'm just like, dude. Well, he does it with conviction. Now, how much of it is theatrics and an act, or how much is he pissed off at the world? I don't know, but I got to say, it's done with conviction, man. And nobody has made me laugh more than Alex Jones, watching him just light it up, man. It's great. It's great. So back to Bilderberg. We've got all these conspiracies we're going to jump through tonight, and we'll start right now. And let's go with Bilderberg setting the agenda for the world. And right now, like with Klaus, right? And the Great Reset and the realignment of the world, which is the agenda for Bilderberg this year. And remember who is attending Bilderberg. Okay, this isn't like crazy conspiracy. This is like world leaders and all of the spy agencies and the World Economic Forum and everything else. And you've got Google there, right? Okay, so what do you think with the Great Reset and the global realignment, which is the agenda this year for Bilderberg? 1 to 4 pipes.
It's 4 pipes. They have a global view of where we're going. They have all the people with the same global agenda in place, in the cabinets, in the governments, in the media, in the agencies. They're all part of this mindset of where the world needs to be taken. And they're going to take us there if we like it or not. So, and this is where, talking about it, okay, you're a conspiracy theorist, we're talking about it, but now it's here. So now what? So they're out in the open, their agendas are known. You can buy COVID, The Great Reset by Klaus Schwab. You can read all their notes. You can read their speeches. You can watch the World Economic Forum live. You can watch the WHO event live. You can, I watch the House of Commons in Canada, and the same talking points that you see on their stage, on the world global stage, it's like they pick up a piece of paper and they repeat the words over and over again. So it's like, it's 100% 4 pipes in my book.
Yeah, it's 100%. The rules are we can't go over 4 pipes, but you almost have to bend the rules when it comes to Bilderberg. But yeah, a solid 4 pipes. So I want to see everybody in the chat room. I want to know Bilderberg 1 to 4 pipes. And see, this is the thing. And Twitter, I want to see it light up. Okay, Genocide's already. Oh, wait a minute. Genocide is moderating the chat room, and he's over on Twitter. I just called out Genocide. That's 4 pipes for Genocide. Genocide, man. He's a conspiracy. He's playing both sides, man. But I want to see everybody's ranking on this. Because it's really funny when the media and others have always said, well, conspiracy theorists don't understand, what Bilderberg is all about. They are talking about the reset and the global realignment, all of it focused on and powered with AI. Holy crap, man. That's not a conspiracy theory. That's a conspiracy. Right?
Total world surveillance, biometric IDs, total centralization of currencies, digital, everything. And, once it gets to that level, first of all, it's like we have problems fighting like in our local governments, and then we have provincial, and then we have federal. Think of if we had to fight global governments. You can't. You're so detached from that reality that from a top-down perspective, it's like you just have to obey. And I think that's exactly what they want and what they're pushing. So, yes, I'm a conspiracy theorist, and that's why we're doing the show.
That's why we're doing the show. Have you seen the documentary? I think it came out in like 2003 called The Corporation.
I have not. But I'm sure I'll love it.
Ooh, man. So Corporation Part 2, the new Corporation, just got released. And man. So when you look at Bilderberg and you talk about Davos and these, the World Economic Forum, You look at all of that, and just go watch these two documentaries. If the first one doesn't freak you out, that's 2003. And where we are right now in 2022, 20 years later, now part 2 is out. It's not governments that are running the world, it's corporations. That's who determines your future. You think, right? It's your government. It is the exact opposite. Anyway, okay, so
stakeholder capitalism is the new word for that.
Stakeholder capitalism. It's 100%, man. Absolutely 100%. Okay, let's get straight to it, and let me bust a move with my mouse here. It's my Bilderberg mouse. I have my Bilderberg AI mouse. This first, I don't know what order you want to go in, but can we go with the Vatican first?
Yes, let's do the Vatican.
Let's start with the Vatican. And the conspiracy, the Quittspiracy here is the Vatican hiding information about the phenomenon? UFO, ancient alien, supernatural gods. Is the Vatican the keeper of the secrets? Jason.
Okay. All right. Well, there are so many cases that we can go to, but I thought I would pick 2 cases that haven't really been spoken about, if not in a while. And here's the case. There is the Egyptian Papyrus of Thule. Okay. And then there's another case that I want to introduce a little after this. But Thule, okay, Professor Alberto Thule was the former director of the Vatican Egyptian Museum. All right. And they had a document, a papyrus, that he said revealed something very supernatural, like a UFO sighting during the reign of Tutmosis III. So that's like, I don't know, 3,500 years ago, from 1400 to, around 1400 BC.
Yeah, 1400. Yep, that's right.
And he got the document, and then he got it translated by this Italian Egyptologist by the name of Prince Boris de Rothschilds. And he translates it, and he says, okay, this document is authentic. Okay. So remember, this comes from the Vatican Egyptian Museum. All right. That's the first place that we hear about this. And it's a very short story, but I have to read the actual translation, because if this is true, this is an extraordinary event that we need to be talking about in the UFO community. All right. So I'm going to read this. The scribes of the House of Life noticed a circle of fire that was coming from the sky. From the mouth, it emitted a foul breath. It had no head. Its body was 1 rod long and 1 rod wide. It had no voice. And from that, the hearts of the scribes became confused, and they threw themselves down on their bellies. Okay, so already we have a fire in the sky. Where have we heard that before, right?
Right.
An odor in the air, and it had no sound, no voice. Okay.
And a ring.
Yes.
Of fire. Yeah.
Now, after some days had passed, these things became more and numerous in the skies. Their splendor exceeded that of the sun and extended to the limits of the 4 angels of the sky. High and wide in the sky was the position from which these fire circles came and went. So more of them came in the sky over the span of days, and they would come and go. Okay, so this is getting like a pretty intense UFO sighting.
Yes.
Then these fire circles ascended higher into the sky, and they headed toward the south. Fish and birds then fell from the sky. Okay, a marvel never before known since the foundation of their land. And the Pharaoh burned incense to make peace with the earth. Okay.
Did you say ascended?
That's what they said. Ascended up. It went back,
not
down,
up.
Up. They went up into the sky.
Okay.
Heading in the direction of the south, and fish and birds fell from the sky. This is an crazy account.
Me likey that account.
All right. So, an account like this that's supposedly 3,500 years old. Okay. So then after this story kind of got out into the public, I think it came out around the 50s, 60s. It came out into the public. Researchers tried to locate the original papyrus from the Vatican to authenticate the story, right? But when researchers started to contact the Vatican about this, the Vatican would write back and tell people they no longer have possession of this document and that they considered it lost and in public hands. And so other researchers, they wrote everybody they could. And one person wrote back saying that after Professor Thule's passing, they believe that the papyrus was passed through his family. And because it was not in good condition, it was most likely disposed of or lost because it was not seen to have any real value. Okay. But the only thing that is keeping this story back from mainstream ufology is that nobody can authenticate this document because there's no actual evidence of the document actually existing except for the word of the Vatican Museum of Professor Thule and Prince Boris de Raschwelz, who translated this. And again, he was an Egyptologist. He knew how to translate documents, and he himself said this was an absolutely authentic document. So you have all these people at a very high level saying that this is a real document, this is a real historical thing that happened in Egypt. But because we have no evidence from the Vatican, we cannot confirm this story.
Now, here's the deal. We're up against a break, and I can almost go and rate this now before the break. I'm not, and we have got a lot more to cover. So during the break, I'll let everybody go 1 to 4 pipes. I don't know what this is going to be, but I want to continue this discussion for a few minutes when we come back after the break. I'm not ready to wrap this up yet. It's too important of a conspiracy. Let's take our break right here. Our guest tonight, the one and only Jason Quitt, is with us because it is Quittspiracy number. Jason says 11. He's going 11. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. This is Fade to Black. Quittspiracy with Jason Quitt. More when we come back after this short break. Stay with us.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network.
Your 1 million gigawatt paranormal powerhouse, KUNX-DB, VX.
This is Billy Carson, founder and CEO of ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. ForbiddenKnowledge.tv is the fastest growing and one of the most watched networks in the world. And I would like to personally invite you to check out our expanding library of TV, film, lectures, and special presentations. ForbiddenKnowledge.tv has over 6,000 videos covering lost history, health, UFOs, spirituality, and our future. We are committed to our community, and with my personal invitation, you can right now get your own free 30-day membership at ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Your own library of information starts today at ForbiddenKnowledge.tv.
Because you never got that pony you always wanted. Damn it. Jimmy Church and Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network.
Listen, I know, and you know, that you've always wanted your first crystal skull. Or maybe you're a collector just like me, but you just don't know where to go to find the real thing. Then I met Carolyn Ford over at EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com. Carolyn is the guardian of Einstein, one of the most respected ancient crystal skulls in the world. All of her unique skulls have been imprinted sitting with Einstein in his sacred lodge and are carved from the finest gemstone and materials. Imprinting is the process of receiving the ancient wisdom from the master skull or master computer. Einstein, the ancient crystal skull. To see Carolyn's current collection of crystal skulls, just visit her store at EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com or click on the banner over on our site. Don't forget to use the promo code Jimmy at checkout to receive 10% off of your order today. That's promo code Jimmy. Finding your first or next crystal skull is easy. Just visit EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com.
Hello, I'm Epidemic, and you're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Hi, this is Ray Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier, and this is Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. We're of the Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier, and I'm Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers, and you're listening to Jimmy Church. The Revolution.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can become an official Fadernaut by just going to our membership section at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Hello, this is Serena Wright Taylor from Conscious Life Expo, and you're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church, who holds the Lucky Pony record for the best astrological chart since 1963. True story.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black.
Welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Quittspiracy tonight. Jason Quitt is with us. Seems like forever since we've done a Quittspiracy. My favorite show. My favorite show. So, and I say that every night, but I really mean it when it comes to Quittspiracy. And so right before the break, we were talking about the Vatican, the keeper of the secrets. Now, my comment to that, Jason, is a simple one. We're talking about if we go with the general age of the Vatican, right? And we go, let's call it like 1,700 years, right? Or, somewhere, 2,000 years, 1,700 years. That's a long time to be collecting stuff, number one. And then number two, what went on before that and different people bringing stuff from around the world and then turning around and adding it to the archives there. They have vaults underneath the Vatican that nobody is allowed into. They have all of the documentation and the maps from around the world and books and scribes and letters and information and reports. And it's all there. Now, do they have information on alien contact and ET contact? They've got it, and it goes back millennia. So the answer that's my comment there. If there is a repository on this planet, it's you've got the CIA and the NSA and you've got whatever MI6 and different things around the world, but nothing like the Vatican. And so if there's any information on anything, it's at the Vatican on anything at all, anything you can think of. And so I would say the Vatican is the keeper of the secrets. And so I'm going with, I want to see the rankings kick up with everybody here right now. I'm going a solid 4 pipes on this. It is a conspiracy. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's a conspiracy by the pure definition.
And I would just add that knowledge is power. And we know that the Vatican holds great power for many years, very high level power. So they must know some pretty high level information to keep it secret, to hold them in a position of power. So what they have buried at the Vatican, what information they're holding, it's not seeing the light of public, and it's probably way more than we could ever imagine. And this is why the conspiracies just spiral when it comes to the Vatican.
What's your ranking?
I would, well, the Vatican hiding secrets,
yes,
hiding disclosure, 4 pipes, 100%.
100%. I don't even think there's a whole lot of contention with this. I don't think there's a point to it that could be debated. And I wanted to share this with everybody. It's very important that I do this. So I'm going to do this now. This is Jason and I many years ago discussing the Vatican and UFOs. Here it is. There it is.
There we are.
You know what's funny about this picture? I want everybody to take a close look. Jason and I, for this picture, had slept for 2 hours. Remember that night? You remember that night? Michael Tellinger. Remember that?
I remember. What the story is, this is from Disclosure Fest, right? Because we all want disclosure and aid. This is like the place to do it. So I get flown in from Toronto, and my flight is like 3 a.m. or something. And I basically land in the middle of the night, and I get there in the morning. And so I go all night with no sleep, basically, maybe, the 2 hours that you said. And then I go to Disclosure Fest with you.
No, actually, that's how much you don't remember.
Okay.
It was the opposite of that. You flew in, and then
I dropped my pipe, man.
You dropped your pipe. We had a party at my house the night before Disclosure Fest.
Oh my!
And we stayed up until 4 o'clock in the morning, and Michael Tellinger just wouldn't stop. He flew in from South Africa, remember? And we sat and we talked conspiracy until 4 o'clock in the morning and wrapped. I got to bed at like 5 or 6, up at 8. And then this picture was taken like at 9 o'clock. And the funny thing was, so we're running on zero sleep. Look at my face. I don't even know how I'm focusing. But you and I stepped up that morning, and there was Tellinger, just fresh and red. Let's go, guys. I'm like, dude, nobody has slept here. And that was incredible. So anyway, there's Jason and I.
But that's how messed up I was, because I did not sleep the night before. Then I spent the day and went to your party.
That was such a great night, man.
I was done.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh, that was an amazing night. We ate and drank all night long from like 5 in the evening, 6 in the evening, all the way to 4, like 12 hours we partied. That was a great night. Okay, so 4 pipes on the Vatican. I don't think there's any question about that. And I want to thank Brad Harris for posting that picture. Brad is amazing. And now let's get to our next.
Well,
go ahead.
Wait. The reason I chose the Vatican is because there are stories that have never really seen the light of day, even though they're public. And I want to give one more story that I have never heard talked about in North America. So I think this would be a first on the radio here. Okay. And it does have to do with the Vatican.
And I have no idea, by the way, what Jason is about to bring up. Okay, so go to reveal.
Okay, so all right. So I have friends in Italy, and I always ask them, tell me something I don't know about ufology or the phenomenon, or, old stories. Just tell me something that I don't know. And one of my friends just sent me down this crazy rabbit hole, and he told me to look up some writings from 2 famous scholars back in the 1st century AD, Roman historians. Okay. And these are in Greek and Latin, and they're used in school materials that are being translated by the Vatican. And there's a couple passages of the works of these individuals that the teachers tell the students, just skip over these passages and just ignore it. Don't worry about this passage. Just, so they're silencing and not translating certain passages of these historians. So I got my hands on some of these historians, and they're supernatural events that were recorded by two of the highest authority of historians back in the day, in the 1st century AD. Okay, the first, his name is, and these are ancient names, so just bear with me. Publio Tacitus. Tacitus.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah, you're right about that. That's.
He is regarded as one of the greatest Roman historians and modern scholars.
No question about it. Okay. All right.
And the Vatican and all those schools, when they teach people translating between Greek and Latin, they use his work, his histories to translate. So this person is of the highest authority, and we cannot discount what he wrote and what he witnessed. The other one is Flavius Josephus, who lived in the same location, same time period.
All right. Okay.
And
so we got Josephus and Tacitus.
Yes.
Okay.
Two top people.
The two, that's where we get our history from through this period. Okay. Let's go.
So we're starting at the top here, and he was a Roman Jewish historian and the military leader of the time. Okay, so these are top people, and both of these people witnessed and recorded an event that has been completely suppressed by scholars since. Okay, so in Tacitus' history, book 5, paragraph 13, this is what he wrote. This is what he witnessed. Wonders had occurred, prodigies that the people, slaves of superstition, but averse to religious practices, does not have the power to ward off with sacrifices and prayers. Clashes of armies and blaze of weapons were seen in heaven, and due to the sudden burning of the clouds, the temple lit up. The doors of the sanctuary were suddenly opened, and a superhuman voice was heard announcing, "The gods are leaving." And meanwhile, there was a great movement as the beings leaving.
What?
Yes. What? Okay, so he's saying that there's a
battle in the sky.
Battle in the sky. Clouds are on fire.
Wow.
And the temple is now burning because of it.
And the gods split. They said,
the gods are leaving. He said they all heard a superhuman voice. Okay. This is the person that wrote the history
of the world.
Book, history of the world. Okay.
History of the world, right.
And the Vatican says, oh, don't read that chapter. Don't read that chapter.
Skip over that part.
Yes. And then Flavio, okay, chapter 5 from 289 to 299 of his Bellum Idicum. Okay. Now, this is where it gets even. So this is another account of the exact same event. When a sword-shaped star and a comet that lasted a year appeared on the city. Okay, so that's
on the city.
On the city.
Okay.
Or as when before the rebellion and the war broke out, the people having gathered for the feast of unleavened bread on the 8th day of the month of Zinthako, and the 9th hour of the night of the altar of the temple was surrounded by such a splendor, which seemed to be in broad daylight, and the phenomenon lasted for half an hour. A miraculous vision appeared, which would be difficult to trust, and in reality, I believe that what I'm about to tell could appear to be a fairy tale if it did not have anything to do with one side to support of eyewitnesses, and on other the confirmation of the misfortunes that followed. Before the sun went down, chariots and armies appeared in the sky over the whole region, emerging from the clouds and surrounding the cities. Okay. Hold on, I just got to go down a little more. And the priests who entered the inner temple at night to celebrate the usual rites reported having felt a jolt and a blow, and then a set of voices that said, "From this place we are leaving."
Wow, holy crap.
Okay, so two people of the highest authority witnessing the same event.
Of course, if you're going to have a cover up, of Roswellian proportions, there are many reasons here not to have this see the light of day and get debated and get discussed in a public forum or in classrooms. The armies were fighting in the sky, emerging from the clouds. That's wow.
And they're basically admitting in their own writings that they would never believe it unless they were there to witness it with others.
Right.
And that they would, if they heard the story, they would say it was fairy tales.
Okay, so what I would like to do, this is what I want to do. I want to investigate this with you. Let's jump into this further and let's see what we can dig up, because I think there is an entire Fade to Black episode that should be based on this very soon. I haven't been intrigued by something like this in a long time. This is very, very, very interesting. And we're talking about Tacitus and Josephus. And wow.
So I've scoured the internet trying to find these passages, and I found them in many places. It seems to be very unknown in North America, this case. But if you're thinking about like chariots of the gods, if you're thinking about ancient aliens and all these things that relate to the phenomenon, what an event, a war in the heavens that was witnessed by all these people. And when the temple is burning, they hear a superhuman voice that say the gods are leaving now.
Yeah, it was the radio control center. Okay, board the craft. We're out of here. Board the craft. We're out of here. We are leaving. Leave this planet to these.
Now, here's the reason why I put these two stories together with the Vatican is because the one from Egypt that's 3,500 years old,
right,
is a similar story.
Yes, it is.
So people can discount and say, okay, we don't have documents. We can't authenticate this story. So we're just going to say it's nothing. Right. But we do have the documents for this one. We got two sources for the same story, historically by the highest authority. And it tells almost the exact same story that happened in Egypt 3,500 years, or from then it was 1,400, 1,500 years before that.
Yeah, 35. Yeah, 1,500. Yeah, 1,800 years actually. So I can hear Robert Clotworthy's voice. Ancient alien theorists say, "This is good stuff. This is good stuff." Wow, the Vatican. We just got to go 4 pipes. We can't go 5. That's just not right.
And the thing is, we could probably do a whole episode of just things that have come out of the Vatican that have been swept under the rug.
Okay, so check this out. You can go extreme. You can do whatever you want. You can theorize and you can let your mind wander and you can trip out all on your own when it comes to the Vatican. But there's just one fact that blows my mind. And we go back to Galileo and house arrest and heresy, right? Right? Okay. The sun, the earth is not the center of the universe. So he spends a life of house arrest, dies in his home. All right. And then now in modern times, the Vatican has an observatory called Lucifer. It's like, wait, whoa. Stop, man. Stop. I've got a one-way ticket to Crazy Town here. And it's mind-blowing. Just think about that and just apply that to everything that we just talked about. So, yeah, that's where I'm at with the Vatican. 4 pipes all day long. I can't say how. You know what? I'm going to have to tell you this off of the air. But I had a conversation. No, I can't say it. I can't say it publicly. I've got to tell you off of the air. I spoke with the Vatican official about this stuff. And yeah, but I can't do I just can't. I can't. It wouldn't be. I'd get him in trouble. I don't want to do that. All right, next conspiracy. So we're 4 pipes all over town on the Vatican. This is okay. We've got 10 minutes to get this next one in. And if we're going to go in order, we can. Or do you want to go into another direction? But you've got 5 seconds.
I mean, the past week, I've been catching up on a show.
Let's go with it. Stranger Things.
Yeah, as you can tell, I'm reliving my 80s childhood.
Jason is wearing a members only jacket, everybody, for this show tonight. Thank you for that.
Authentic from the 80s. So, I'm getting in the mindset of the conspiracies of the 80s.
So now, and so Stranger Things, we know the show. What's the conspiracy that ties into Stranger Things?
Does the government experiment on children? Do they have programs to create psychic soldiers? And do they have secret programs in facilities all over America? Basically, that's the conspiracy.
Well, okay. So if we break this down, because this can go Montauk, right? And that's a whole nother situation, but we all see the similarities there, right? With Montauk and that. But if we just go with MK Ultra, just right there, MK Ultra was real. And Senator Frank Church, who did the hearings on this, when all of this was revealed, there were orders from the director of the CIA to destroy all documents. And they did. I believe, Jason, that only like 200 pages of millions of pages of paperwork, only 200 pages survived and made it into the church committee. And
we've actually done this show before. We've done MK Ultra as a conspiracy show before. And they had so many documents because it ran from the 1950s to the 1970s is officially when they stopped. We don't know where it went.
That's true. And MK Ultra, by name, by that program, only ended because of the church committee, right? I mean, if that hadn't have happened, right? So MK Ultra is real. Now you went and I want to read something here from your notes really quick, if that's all right.
Sure.
Because you say in the show The Stranger Things, the plot evolved into finding, kidnapping, and training exceptional children to have psychic abilities, training them into becoming psychic weapons for the purpose of fighting the Russians. It's always the Russians. But as all experiments in the unknown territories unfold, so do unexpected consequences. Now, I would say, if we're going to apply a question to this so we can get to 1 to 4 pipes, is there, I guess the conspiracy would be, does it continue? Right? That's it. Is that going on today? Do you have evidence that you want to present that it is continuing today?
I have no evidence of it continuing today. All I know is that there's been a theme all the way from the 50s where there are people that take this very seriously, and there's a lot of people that laugh at this. When it comes to MK Ultra, nobody's laughing because this is the darkest stuff you can think a government can do to their own civilians.
Yep.
I mean, they used all methods of torture, mind-altering drugs. They wanted to break people, break their minds, brainwash them, program them. And, they're saying this is teaching them for, integrate interrogation methods and how to manipulate and control a person. So Sirhan,
yeah, right, killed Robert Kennedy.
Yeah.
MK Ultra. Ted Kaczynski,
Unabomber,
MK Ultra.
Yeah,
and that's it's crazy that Ted Kaczynski, man, didn't get arrested until the late 1990s, and almost didn't get caught. And but so to say that is the program continuing? Are there psychic soldiers out there right now? Yes. So I'm looking at the clock.
There's nothing that we can prove, but I mean, there are some cases that, horrific cases that happened of shootings and different things where there's ties to the FBI, there's ties to intelligence agencies. And you have to wonder, if there's any connection, because that's what they've been talking about since the 50s.
Right. Is this program continuing, and are there psychic soldiers out there? I'm going 4 pipes on that. I'm right now. I'm rolling it out. 4 pipes.
There is definitely evidence, CIA documents, unclassified documents that say that they have used children, that they have used civilians in these programs to test their abilities. 4 pipes.
4 pipes. No question about it. MK Ultra. There is a great documentary series on MK Ultra and Ted Kaczynski. I can't think of the name of it right now. Somebody can post it up in Twitter or in the chat room. But it is, watch that. I mean, it's absolutely incredible. And I'll say it again, Kaczynski didn't get caught until the late 1990s. So are there other Ted Kaczynskis out there? The Manchurian Candidate, right? That are just waiting to be triggered. I'm 4 pipes. 4 pipes on that. Let's take our break. You went 4 pipes too.
Yes, I did. Yes.
And somebody just said 4 pipes and 1 bong.
Well, the show evolves.
Yes, it does. Oh man, what happened, man? We used to have control of the show, Jason. It's lost all control. Let's take our break right here. It's Quittspiracy tonight with Jason Quitt. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. We're going to take a quick break. More Quittspiracies when we come back. Stay with us.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
You're listening to Jimmy Church and Fade to Black on the X.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and this year, June 18th, 2022, the Disclosure Fest Foundation presents the Mass Meditation Initiative. It's Saturday, June 18th from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., one day only at the Los Angeles State Historic Park in downtown Los Angeles, California, right next to Chinatown. I'm hosting the event again this year with music performances by Trevor Hall, The Desert Dwellers, Boron Gee, and many, many more on 4 separate stages. There's 16 stages in total, over 30 acres in downtown Los Angeles, with vendors and tents and presentations and workshops with Billy Carson, Adam Apollo, Lori Spagna, Laura Eisenhower, Brad Olson, David Palmer, and many, many more. It's all simple to do. Just go to disclosurefest.org for all of your tickets, information, and a full schedule of the day's events. Again, disclosurefest.org. Do you want to be an official Fadernaut? Of course you do. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black. Just go to our membership section at jimmychurchradio.com. Fadernauts, when you think about the future of our country and where we're headed, do you wonder about the food supply? I do. Disruptions in the food supply chain could be disastrous, and they usually occur with little warning. That's why the smartest thing you can do today is to stockpile emergency food, water, and other essentials. I personally recommend My Patriot Supply. They're the nation's largest emergency preparedness company, serving millions of customers for more than a decade. In fact, they're the only source my family trusts for our preparedness plan. You should too. Right now, save 20% off a full 4-week supply of delicious meals that provide 2,000 calories a day. Saving 20% helps too, doesn't it? Especially now. So go to preparewithjimmy.com and get ready. That's preparewithjimmy.com. There's no time to lose. Do it now.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
You listen to us, and we listen to you. And so does the CIA.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Jason Quitt is with us, Quittspiracy. And I went back, Jason, during the break. I tried to find that TV series. I'm going to continue to find it. What? Come on, Fader Nods. Somebody give me the TV series about MK Ultra and Ted Kaczynski. It's absolutely incredible. I want to get that title out so everybody else can go and watch it. I just looked, there are a lot of articles about did the government and MK Ultra create Ted Kaczynski? There's articles in the Atlantic and there's plenty of stuff out there, but this TV series is incredible. And I think that there is a lot of evidence to state this as being the case. And it's not just like this. It's how it started.
Do you know where Ted Kaczynski was tortured for MK Ultra?
No, I don't. Do you?
Yes, I do. In Harvard University.
Oh, yeah. He was dosed.
Yeah, dosed, and he was under duress, is all I can say. Continual duress, yeah.
People thrown out of windows, right? suicided. It's a crazy story, man, that surrounds Ted Kaczynski. It wasn't him doing what he did. It was influenced by so many other circumstances that were surrounding him and the MK Ultra program. And that's it. That's a fact. Nobody wants to talk about it. He was just some crazy guy that didn't want high tech to take over society, so he built bombs out of wood. Right? You know, that's this, you know, and that's the only part of Ted Kaczynski that they want you to know. He wrote a manifesto, right? Okay. No, there is much more to the story. Yeah, is it Manhunt?
I think it's Manhunt.
Yeah, you're right. Scratch is going to get I never do this. Scratch, well done. Well done, Scratch. It's Manhunt. Yeah, watch that series.
Hold on, it's getting a little too smoky in here. Just hold on. Okay.
Oh man.
Okay.
Getting too smoky. Yeah, Manhunt. And and the crazy part, I've watched Manhunt now. The whole, I think it's like 6 episodes or so. I've watched it like 3 times. I've gone back and rewatched it. It is incredible. It's called Manhunt DOB. We just gave it to you. Now you want a link. What else do you want us to do for you, man? You want me to click play? Let's cancel the show, Jason. Let's just do a drive-in theater, and we'll play Manhunt tonight. So,
but this is what Quittspiracy is. We love talking to the chat and Twitter and all that stuff. So
now, next Quittspiracy.
Well, man, you are going so fast because
okay.
I'm going to dial you back because the Stranger Things show. If you haven't watched this show, you have to watch it because it's based off of, I would say, 3 programs. Okay, you have the Montauk Project, which, I can't say is real. I can't really confirm that one.
It's a real story.
A real story. That's right. But I can confirm Project Stargate, and that was connected to the Monroe Institute, where they did astral travel remote viewing.
And SRI, of course.
And these 2 programs were, connected to 2 names we know in the UFO community very well. Russell Targ and Hal Puthoff.
SRI, the Stanford Research Institute. And Ingo Swann, so many not only great minds and scientists were involved with this, but this was a Stanford project. It turned into a CIA project and funded by the CIA. I think it went over to the NSA, got handed back to the CIA, and ran for a very, very long time. And it still runs today. It's just under another name. That's just the facts of the case. So with Stranger Things, what is it? Hawkins, right?
Hawkins, Indiana. Yeah.
Now, is there what I always thought about with this is that the facility there in Hawkins is, I don't think they're trying to hide this. That's Montauk, but it's just in Hawkins, right? And the pronunciation of the name, right? Montauk and Hawkins. I always thought that was done deliberately, right? I
think it's called the Duffer brothers who wrote it. I think originally they wanted to call the show Montauk.
Yes, that's what I heard too.
They really believed it, or they really used that story in their writing. And I think that they were going to get sued because of that. So they just took that story and changed a couple things and said, instead of it being in Long Island, New York, and the Montauk Project, we're going to take it and to Hawkins, Indiana, and call it Stranger Things.
Now, I'll talk about season 4. Let's stop for a second and talk about season 4. The how do I want to say this? The students. Let's go with the students, right? Okay, so number one is revealed in this season. I'm not going to go any further than that. The reveal happened 2 weeks ago. They've split up this season, with a part 1 and part 2, right? Act 1 and act 2. And she's number 11. And so we know that. And then so number 1 gets revealed. But the students and the class and how this is being handled, I think it could be very close. Now, the Duffer Brothers are great. Mm-hmm. And they have a really good way of creating, I'm going to say it as theater of the mind, but they're doing visuals with this too. So the story is in your head. You're able to, get into the story and the storyline, and then you have the visuals to go along with it. And I hope I'm making sense and presenting it that way, because it's a very, very complex story, especially compared to season 1 and how it has evolved. But I'm stating all of this to get to this comment. The way that, and this is no spoiler alert here. You need to go and watch season 4, and you can understand and appreciate what I am saying. The way that they present now what's going on in the Upside Down, this other parallel world, and how it is treated psychologically, the Duffer Brothers, man, pulled it off. This season messed with my head. I mean, if you're going to have a dreamscape sequence presented, Jason, listen to me. When you have that crazy nightmare, that crazy freaky dream, and you wake up the next day and you go, that could be a screenplay. That should be a movie. And that's what goes through your head, right? The Duffer Brothers did it. They took that nightmare scenario, that crazy psychosis thought thing, that all of his fear, and they got it into Stranger Things season 4. And it is spot on the money. I so enjoyed those last 2 or 3 episodes as this was, revealing itself. I don't want to say any more than that. And everybody's listening going, what the frig is Jimmy talking about? You have to go and watch it, and you will totally appreciate the ability for them to get onto the screen the crazy crap that went on in your head in that nightmare of yours, and they pulled it off. Do you agree?
I think that this season was just upping the game entirely. Usually shows kind of peter off. This exploded the entire season. It's like we watched it from the beginning, from season 1 up to this.
Yes.
And this season is by far my favorite season right now. I can't wait for the rest.
No question about it. This is, and you're right. Season 1, season 2, season 3 of any TV series, tends to peter off and whatever. No, season 4 of Stranger Things is by far the best, and they've all been good seasons, great seasons. But holy crap! And okay, so I said this a couple of weeks ago before I did the binge. When I watched episode 1 of season 4, I was like, oh man, they screwed it up. This is just going to suck. But it's Stranger Things. I'm invested, right? I'm going to watch. And it just got better and better. And I totally get why they did everything that they did. And now we have to wait for, the second half of season 4. But wow. Oof. Yeah, Stranger Things. Well done. Well done. Well done. I caught myself. I want to ask you about this. Yeah. The last 2 episodes, I said 3, because the last 3 were setups for, the last episode. But the last 2 episodes where they are, I don't want to say, they are somewhere else, right? Okay. The way that it was presented, the sheet, right? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
okay.
I do.
the way that was presented, dude, I was sitting there going, this is like the best television I've ever seen in my life. This is like excellent direction. I mean, I couldn't believe it. That's what was going through my mind. Like, this is like the top, this is the king of the hill stuff.
And being an astral traveler and going into these other worlds, when I first saw Stranger Things originally and they went into the Upside Down, I was like, this is the coolest thing, because okay, that's like more like a nightmarish scenario,
right?
But that's what it's like. It's like, you know, you go into another world, but it's the same. Okay, you wake up in your bedroom, it's the same, but it's not the same.
It's not. Everything is the same, but it's different.
Yeah.
And I think we all fear that. And maybe some of us, including myself, you know, sometimes you do go through periods in your life where things are like that. And I've been through it. And there was one scene, again, this is not a spoiler. It doesn't give anything away to the plot. But the girlfriend, anyway, what, I don't want to give anything away. She's in the Upside Down in a pool, right? And she goes to get out of the pool, and she does, and then she's on stairs. But behind her is nothing. The pool's not there, right? And it was just so badass. I mean, I was like, that's a nightmare. You know, somehow they were able to capture the fantastical, the impossible, because cinematically you would never do that in a movie. It just doesn't make any sense, but it would if you're in the Upside Down, in a parallel world, and another thing. And it was just so well done, and it scared the crap out of me, man. That one little scene, it was like 2 seconds long. I was like, that's what it's all about. Okay, so you were talking about astral travel.
Yes.
And the Upside Down. I've told the story before on the air, and this is why Stranger Things to me is closer to the mark. We can say it's science fiction and it's fun and it's well written and it's all of that. I think it's based in reality, because back in the 80s, I'm sober, right? I was very proud of my soberness back then. I smoked a little, but I didn't party, right? I didn't do any drugs. I didn't do anything. And but this one day, I had a Nissan pickup truck, and I had to go somewhere. Now, across the street from my house is, you know, another neighborhood. You know, it's across the street. It had trees, and it went down to Washington Street and went up to whatever, you know, it's like 4 blocks, you know, a mile, and then went back about a mile. But there was a shortcut through this neighborhood for me to zigzag up to Altadena Avenue. Okay. All right. Or New York Street. And if you know Pasadena, you know what I'm talking about, off of Lake Avenue. So I go across the street into a neighborhood across the street from my house that I know like the back of my hand. Tall trees, shaded, nice homes and things. And, you know, and all I'm going to do is through the neighborhood, make a left and go up to New York and make a right and head over to where I was going. Not a big deal. I did this all the time. I drove across the street and got lost. Across the street from my house. And I got stuck in there for like a couple of hours. And I couldn't, it was hard for me to admit this on the air on Fade to Black. I'm telling you right now, I didn't tell any of my friends. I didn't tell any, because they were just, what? Dude, you can't get, what? Right? And I almost ran out of gas, Jason. And I'm in there and I'm panicking and I'm in a shortness of breath. And I am like, I can't find New York Avenue. What the hell is going on? Driving. I don't care what anybody says. It happened. And I finally zigzag my way out of this neighborhood, come back out onto Lake Avenue, and I look down and I see my house. And instead of going to where I was going, I pulled across the street, pulled into my house. Right, 2 hours go by. I go in the house, I'm hyperventilating, and I got lost in my own neighborhood. So when you think, when you're talking about driving down the street and suddenly not recognizing anything, and you hear people talking about this and you just laugh it off, I don't. It happened to me. And I mean, I freaked out. I'm looking at my gas gauge. I'm like, how long? What's going on? And this is just a little, 4 blocks by 4 blocks. And me telling the story now, it sounds crazy, but it happens. And there are so many reports about this throughout history about people driving down the road, and the gas station that's supposed to be there is gone. The school that they went to is a different color, and they drive through town and nothing's making any sense. And they come back and the gas station is back. Right. And they're like, wait a minute, what's going on? Ultimately, is it driving into another dimension? Right. We talk about the multiverse. Is it the possibility of something like that happening where you are geographically in the same location, but it's in another version of that geographic location?
I've heard these stories for a very long time, and I'm trying to remember if it happened to me. I don't know, but I've heard stories from friends that were totally freaked out, where, like you said, they're driving down a street and they see that there should be a building there, but the building's gone, and instead of a building, there's a cemetery. And they take a note. They go, "Wow, I didn't notice that before. When I come back from work, I'm going to just stop and check it out." And as they drive back from work, there's no cemetery, the building's there. So it's like they have these kind of time slips, or you get to see through the veil into another multiverse of where you are. I heard a crazy story. I think it's the craziest story I heard. Was somebody, a woman was driving her car down a road, and she was going, I think the story was she was going to church. She was in her church clothes, and a truck swerved into her lane. And the last thing she remembers is it hitting her square on. And instantaneously, she found herself driving down that road again in the car, wearing different clothes, going to a different location. And, she's thinking, did that just happen? Did I just die? And now I'm somewhere in an alternate reality where now I'm living out the rest of my life.
This is let's stay right here for a second. I often wonder how many people this has happened to, and they don't make the connection, right? They think, oh, I got lost, or I forgot that, I thought that building was still there, and I forgot that they tore it down.
Oh, wait, stop. It just came, there is a place from my childhood. There is a freaking park that I used to go play at as a child.
Right.
I used to go down, and there were seashells that I used to pick and find. And then later in life, I said, take me back there. And nobody knew what I was talking about or where that park was.
What do you do with that? Is that your imagination? Is because that's what a doctor's going to say. That's Jason's active imagination. He had his childhood friend that he used to go and play with in that park, and he imagined everything.
I'm sorry for cutting you off. It's just bang. Okay, I remember something. Sorry for cutting you off. Go ahead.
No, but do you understand what I'm saying? You know, and back to my point, how many times does this happen where it gets dismissed? And then if I, like this audience, right? If I ask them just stop and think about something that was strange in the past that you just dismissed and you forgot about it, but now that you know and understand things a bit more, when you look back, was that a Stranger Things moment? Did you, how many, I went through and read a whole list of accounts and went all over the net of people that went through a time slip where they drove through their town and their town was a different color, or they drove through their town and it was a different era. They drove through their town and they're driving past 1950s automobiles, right? They and then they come back through town and everything is back normal. I've read hundreds of accounts like this from people all around the world. I've read these accounts from the 1900s all the way through to today. It has happened over and over again, and I'm okay with talking about it because some things don't make sense. I had my vanishing house, and I will stick by that story because I still don't have an explanation for it. And as crazy as it sounds, it's true. The story is true. It doesn't change. It may sound crazy. It doesn't change what happened. And I'm still blown away. Even in the last 10 years since I started telling the story again, I've gone back to maps and Google Earth on that one street in Indianapolis, and I've looked at every street around it, trying to find anything that could be similar to what. No, I can't. I can't find it. It doesn't exist.
I have a spur of the moment time travel Quittspiracy. If you want, we can do it off the top of my head right after the break.
Okay, let's do it. Let's take our break right here. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Jason Quitt is with us. Quittspiracy, he says, number 11. I am your host, Jimmy Church. I think it's 10. Who knows? We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Hi, everybody. This is Rob Halford, the Metal God, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Your 1 million gigawatt paranormal powerhouse, KUNX-DB, the X.
Are you ready to read about true paranormal events? UNX Media publishes nonfiction books about UFOs, ghosts and haunted places, time anomalies, cryptid creatures, and more. Just like KUNX-DB Radio, it's all about unexplained phenomena. Visit www.unxmedia.com to see our list of great book titles by Debbie Ziegelmeyer, Gene Walker, Devin Listrom, Wayne Lawrence, Bill Spicer, and yours truly, Margie Kay. That's unxmedia.com.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and I only drink Fade to Black blend coffee from River Moon. Just click on the River Moon Coffee banner at jimmychurchradio.com. Promo code F2B Blend.
This is the only way forward.
This is Fade to Black. Make contact.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and this year, June 18th, 2022, the Disclosure Fest Foundation presents the Mass Meditation Initiative. It's Saturday, June 18th from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., one day only at the Los Angeles State Historic Park in downtown Los Angeles, California, right next to Chinatown. I'm hosting the event again this year with music performances by Trevor Hall, The Desert Dwellers, Poran Gi, and many, many more on 4 separate stages. There's 16 stages in total, over 30 acres in downtown Los Angeles, with vendors and tents and presentations and workshops with Billy Carson, Adam Apollo, Lori Spagna, Laura Eisenhower, Brad Olson, David Palmer, and many, many more. It's all simple to do. Just go to disclosurefest.org for all of your tickets, information, and a full schedule of the day's events. Again, disclosurefest.org.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why fade to black? Because you never got that pony. Damn it.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network.
Welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Jason Quitt is with us. Quittspiracy. He says number 11. All right, we'll go with that. I'll go with Jason on this. And he said he had a spur of the moment before the break conspiracy to reveal. And I've got another one, and then we'll get back to the list, okay? I want to go first, and I'm going to make this really quick, and I'm going to bust out. I'm going to watch the comments here as they flood in. In 1985, 1986, I'm living in that house in Pasadena that I got lost in, right? Okay. And one of my roommates, and right then crack cocaine is taking over. And one of my roommates was there with his cousin, and I think his cousin's name was Tony. And he says to me, we had a group of, it's basically a party house, and we're all sitting in the living room, and he blurts out, there was a story on the news, whatever, crack cocaine, right? Which was the news back then. And he says, the CIA invented crack cocaine and brought it to Los Angeles, right? That's what he says. And I never forgot that. But at the time, now we talked about it and things, but I think most of us kind of dismissed it, right? Oh no, man, I got friends, and it's true. The CIA invented crack cocaine, and so years go by, and then I started to find this being discussed in legal forums, by whistleblowers and others outside of our conspiracy community. I'm talking about the Department of Justice discussing this. And I'm like, oh, you mean it was true? Right. And I went back, and now remember, this was like 1985, 86 when crack started to take over. When I first heard this, that the CIA invented crack cocaine. So I'm gonna post right now to our chat room and to Twitter 1 to 4 pipes, the conspiracy of the CIA creating crack cocaine and introducing it to the streets of America. What does everybody think? 1 to 4 pipes on that conspiracy. Jason, as I say that to you, now I'm going to do a big reveal in just a second. What do you think about that conspiracy? 1 to 4 pipes.
I'm trying to remember of the gentleman's name. He wrote a book called Dark Alliance, and it was about the CIA bringing, or CIA or FBI, I think it was CIA, bringing the cocaine from South America and Central America into the U.S. purposefully.
And that is well documented. You have the Iran Contra and the funding of, and the cocaine deals that were going down to fund the revolution that was going on down there with cocaine money. Okay, so yes, the short answer to that is absolutely. There were CIA pilots flying cocaine to the United States, selling it, and taking the money to fund Nicaragua.
So I never heard of the crack part of that story. So I would say 3 pipes. It's extremely plausible that that is true. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going 4 pipes on this. And now I will direct everybody to the U.S. Department of Justice, Office of Justice Programs website. This is an official website.
Wow.
And here's a book. It's called The Big White Lie, The CIA and the Cocaine Crack Epidemic. That is the book. And written by former undercover agent working for the Drug Enforcement Administration, charged with the Central Intelligence Agency and other U.S. federal agencies for perpetuating the scourge of crack cocaine on American streets. And here's the abstract, and it's reconstructed from tapes, personal diaries, court transcripts, and interviews. The author maintains that without CIA support, there would be no epidemic of crack cocaine use in the United States, and it would have never occurred. And that's the Department of Justice website. So 4 pipes, man. Isn't that crazy? And this was something that I heard and never forgot in 85, 86, like right in there. I remember the roommates that I had at that time and Tony when he whipped this out on everybody. But yeah.
Well, okay, so this is hearsay, obviously. I have no way to back this up. But I heard this story through my wife, Monica, who is friends with somebody who lived, I would say, in what we'd call the ghetto of America. I'm not going to say exactly where it was, but, a lot of gangs and violence. And the story that they were telling me was that when they were a kid, at nighttime, boxes of guns, illegal guns, would just show up in certain alleyways in the inner city. And the gangsters would go there and they would just get these guns. And as this person grew up, that was normal for him. He knew this was going on. But as he grew up, he's like, well, where did these guns come from? Who was putting these guns in the alley for anybody to come and pick them up?
Wow.
So that is a definite conspiracy, but that fits with what you were saying as well, because there's a purpose for this. There's a purpose of bringing guns. There's a purpose of bringing drugs into certain places, and which is not a nice purpose. Not a nice purpose.
Yeah, and when we look at stuff like this, where I understand that there are people out there that would say, our government would never do things like that, or and we look at very specific cases like Iran-Contra, right, where that was real and that happened. These are facts. And the conversation, the old quote, right, where there's smoke, there's fire. And you hear about these rumors, and now they start. They don't start with people that aren't in the action. It starts from there, right? And somebody said Rick Ross, right? And I like that comment. And Rick, that's part of Los Angeles cocaine history, right there. And so that these participants in this were probably saying to their friends, and then that gets out into the community, that that they got this stuff from an agent of the government, right? And it just gets out there that way. I don't think that this stuff is just made up out of thin air because they're trying to blame somebody besides themselves for issues that are going on. No. I think that there is something to this. And so like I said, you can go to the Department of Justice website and see this book. Why are they talking about it? Why are they discussing this? And that's where I always go back to, where there's smoke, there's fire. And that crack epidemic happened very quickly, man. Very quickly, very fast. And I just think it started that way. I do. I firmly believe if there's a conspiracy to say that there's 4 pipes, I think that that's one. And only because of my personal experience with it, how I was told, in a conversation amongst friends, one night in 1986, and I've just never forgotten that. And when you later, like I had said at the beginning of the show, that thing with, we should have done that conspiracy about the 10 Commandments, right? In the Vatican taking one of the commandments and throwing it out and taking another commandment and splitting it into two so there were still 10 commandments. That's crazy. I mean, how is that? Well, you know what? It's true. It actually happened. And you can see the documentation on that. That's something that, the Vatican doesn't really want to talk about or, make this an issue. But when you hear it from somebody that is complaining about religion or the Catholic Church, you tend to dismiss these things. But when you find out later that it's actually true, that's when you have that like paradigm shift. If that's true, then what else is true? What else isn't true, right? And you go through that, and that's what's so fun about conspiracies is that they're there, but what are they based on, and are they actually true? So, yeah, there you go. All right, so you said you had another one off the cuff.
Yeah. Well, you were talking about time slips and time travel and seeing between worlds. And there's a story, and it goes back to biblical times. It's such an amazing story, and it's called The Seven Sleepers. Have you heard that? I think I've mentioned this in the past, but okay. So basically when the Christians were being persecuted by the Romans at the very beginning of Christianity, there was a group of 7 Christians who were under attack by the Romans, and they hid in a cave in a mountain. All right. And they went to sleep in this cave. And when they woke up, they came out of the cave, all 7 of them, and they went back into the city, which is Rome. And they realized that they weren't being persecuted anymore. It was 300 years into the future. And this story of these 7 sleepers, the Christians that ran away, got right to the king, and they were basically, and remember, this is off the top of my head, but basically they were made saints, and it was declared a miracle and a sign from God. So there, you can go to this mountain, and their graves are still there, and the story is still there that these 7 people that were running away from the Romans went into a cave and slept, and they woke up 300 years later when Christianity overtook Rome. So look this up. It's called The 7 Sleepers.
Wow. What do we do with that? I mean, and just hearing it, you got to go 4 pipes.
I'm going to give it 3 to 4 pipes because it's not the first time I've heard of such a thing happening to people.
Right.
In fact, there's a story again that's quite recent. He was a firefighter. I think his first name was Danny. He's actually from Ontario. He was skiing in New York, and he was going down the hill with his family, and he just disappeared. And they were searching for him.
Right.
For a whole week.
Yes.
And he just suddenly appeared in a parking lot in, I think, somewhere in California.
Yes.
Still in his skis and ski jacket.
Yep.
Full attire.
Just appeared.
No memory.
Doesn't know how
he got there. And they were searching for him pretty hard for that week.
Still unexplained, by the way.
Yes. I mean, he said, okay, the way they did try to explain it away as he just had amnesia, and then he hitchhiked all the way in his ski clothes to California. That's the story that they put out afterwards. But if I were just to say, you know, Professor Jason coming on the scene, I'm saying, oh, he just, went through a portal and teleported to California. No biggie. It happens all the time.
Right. I'm going through a bunch of I got like 1.5 million hits about the 10 Commandments. This is something that I haven't made up. Why did the Roman Catholic Church change the 10 Commandments written in the Bible? And they changed, you shall not make yourself an image in the form of anything in heaven or above, on the earth beneath, or the waters below. You shall not, right? That's right out. Right. That was
interesting.
And they also changed the 4th commandment from keep the Sabbath day to keep the Lord's day. And so they reworded that. The 10th commandment, you shall not covet your neighbor's house, includes you shall not covet your neighbor's house, your neighbor's wife, or the manservant or his donkey. They split that commandment into 2. It was just 1 commandment before. So, I mean, it's just there.
And then you can get into the conspiracy. Did Moses even exist? Or did it come from another story that came out of Egypt? So we don't know.
Well, I mean, let's stay on that conspiracy for a second, man. I want to get to oil. It is, or we can do that in overtime. So the 69th commandment, did the Roman Catholic Church change the 10 commandments? That's the conspiracy. Took a commandment out. It doesn't matter which one. I'm not going to get in depth here. And then split the 10th commandment into 2. So they still had 10 commandments. Did this actually happen? And the Catholic Church version of this story, because it did happen, is one thing. I think the Catholic Church said there was 18 commandments, so it doesn't really matter if there was 10 or 9, and then but there's 10 now. Okay, so whatever it is, but did they? I'm going 4 pipes.
I'll go 4 pipes too, because they changed a lot of things in the Bible that we have today. And, this goes back in history where they've changed the Bible so many times for different reasons. Did you know slaves had one Bible and their masters had a different Bible?
Of course they did. Okay. Let me save this image here. Hold on. I'll just call this 10. And I'll bust this out for everybody really quick. Hold on. This is great. Are you ready?
I got to go on Twitter for this, I guess.
No, it's good. No, I'm gonna pop this up right here, man. I have the ability. There it is. There it is.
You should not make for yourself an idol. That was pretty big back then, because idol worship, pre-Judaism was, the statue embodied the spirit of, the gods, and that's what they did. But, people still wear a pendant with Jesus on it. I mean, isn't that similar?
Yeah. See, and so if you look here, right, the biblical 10 commandments, right, and you look at 2 and 4 and 10, and so they took out 2 and 4 and came up with a new one, which is number 3 in the Catholic 10 commandments. Remember to keep holy the Lord's day, right?
Right.
And then number 10, which is you shall not covet your neighbor's house, and they split that into 2. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife, and you shall not covet your neighbor's goods.
And it's interesting because, 10 commandments in Judaism, it's on the Sabbath, which is the Saturday, which represents the planet Saturn. And then as you move to Christianity, which is the Son of God, it's the Lord's Day, which is Sunday, which is the planet of the sun.
Right.
So it's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, it's totally interesting. And so when we jump into stuff like this, and I've often said where you can go back and somebody is going to say, well, look, it's rather obvious. It was written this way. We are going back into deep history here, deep history. And the accuracy of what was around back then, nobody really knows. But we do have original versions of the Bible before the Catholic versions came out. And you can't say that the Catholic Bible is older than the Old Testament. You can't do that.
They had, they even had, I think it was the 72 laws of Ma'at, the 72 laws of truth from Egypt, carried forward that same sacred number, the 72 names of God. That was in Kabbalah and Judaism. I guess it was narrowed down to 10 after that. So, religions change. Spiritual.
Well, let me tell you. Let me explain how I found out about this. And it's going back to that house, right, that I got lost in. So I'm there, and I'm 21 that summer, and I just arrived from Indianapolis. And I'm playing guitar. I got my new band. I've got my new job, and this and that. And somebody gives me a Bible. I might have asked for it, right? Okay, so I get a Bible, and I only got the Bible because I wanted to read it, and not so much from a religious aspect, but what was bothering me at that time was so many people that we all know, growing up or whatever, they like to say that they've read the Bible. But I could never say that. I would have to fake my way through a conversation. Okay. All right. So I just wanted to read the Bible, so I had a general idea of what's going on. And so I wouldn't be lying if I said, yeah, I've read the Bible. Right. So that was my goal. I was doing a lot of reading. So I get the Bible. I start, Genesis, page 1. Right. Mm-hmm. And the Lord said, and I bust through, and especially the Old Testament. I loved it. I loved it. I thought, man, this is like the greatest story ever told. Oh, it should be a movie. And I'm reading through, and it's great. I loved it. And I got through, all the way, Revelations, and books that you can't name, you can't pronounce. And I'm going through, and I read the entire thing. While I am doing that, this friend of mine, Julie, I forget what church she was at, but she went to church like every day of the week. And she goes, okay, but you can't read that version of the Bible. I said, why not? That's got a different 10 commandments in it. What are you talking about? No, the real 10 commandments are in this Bible. It was first. And then she gives me this book, paperback, and I read it. And it was a book, it doesn't matter, picking apart the Catholic Bible, and doing other things, the mark of the beast. And actually in this book, it talked about implants, and your money would be in your left hand, and that would be the mark of the beast. And you would have a computer chip. And this is 1984. Think about that, right? So anyway, I went and read and my brain was blown apart. And especially after reading the Bible and going through, and like I said, this wasn't a religious thing. For me, it was about the reality of the world, and what we're taught, what we're told about anything was really messing with me. And at that age of 21, it changed my course. And that's why this show is being done today. That's what Fade to Black is being done, because of what went down back then. And when you see that, and you have, so many religions around the world that, have been fighting and whatever for thousands of years. And then you start to see stuff like this, and you realize something's going on here. Somebody's not telling the truth. I don't know who. Maybe it's nobody. But the way my view of the world, because of stuff like this, is changing, and where it's just like nothing is what it seems to be, and it's my job to try to figure out what is really going on, and that's why, I talked about that crack cocaine thing, which happened around the same time, by the way. But this 10 Commandments thing really messed with me. I was baptized Catholic. I got my baptism papers right over there, that I got from my mom after she passed. And I'm holding, the stuff from the church. I wasn't raised Catholic, but I was baptized. But so I had this connection indirectly to all of this. And I was just wondering what the heck is going on, man. And it's definitely molded me into just questioning everything. Just question everything. Don't take anything at face value.
My question is, if they wrote it in this Bible that the mark of the beast is a chip that has your records in it and bank account in your left hand, if they know this, why are people in our time actually doing that and promoting it? Wouldn't they do something different to say, oh yeah, we're not the mark of the beast? But instead they're just doing it, and they're saying, oh, it's just a coincidence that was written in that book.
Yeah, when back then, okay, in 1984, 85, ATM machines, brand new, right? Like an ATM card, nobody had those yet. I mean, it was just like a rare thing. It was just starting. The idea, Apple was years away, right? Computers were, that didn't happen yet. We still had basically, we had MTV and 3 other channels, right? I mean, it was still, everything was completely different. But to have talk in this book about, your no money, cashless society, and your money would be on a chip on your hand. That is a crazy, prophetic, I might say, statement to have in this book that I never forgot about. And you read it back then, it's like total science fiction. It's just like, it's like Isaac Asimov stuff. It's way into the future.
And for some, it's already implanted in their hand. They can't let go of it,
Man, I before we get to the break, 2 things happened to me recently. Last year, I lost my cell phone in a casino. Okay, now what is on that cell phone? Well, it's my world. It's my money, right? It's my GPS. It's my phone book. It's and I lost it in a casino. And thinking about what that meant on how I would have to get this fixed was mind-blowing to me. And then another thing happened. I was on the East Coast a couple of months ago. I was in New York, and I lost my wallet. Lost my wallet. Couldn't find it in the hotel room. And I went to the restaurant that I was just at. They don't know. They can't find it. Now, it's all of my credit cards. That's one thing. But it's also my driver's license. How do I get on a plane without my ID? And how am I going to overcome this? And I mean, for 12 hours, I lost it. I lost my mind. And I had everybody searching every place that I was at, and everybody's got my phone number. Please call me back. And I am freaking out. I didn't cancel my credit cards yet, but I was on the verge of doing that. And then I went back to my hotel room, and I'm turning it over. It's not there. You know where it was? In the pocket of my pajamas. Why was it in the pocket of my pajamas? Because at 1:00 in the morning, I woke up and went down to get stuff from the convenience store on the first story of the hotel. and I just put on my PJ bottoms and slippers, and I went down and I literally bought a couple of bags of chips and whatever, and then came back up and put my pajamas in my pajamas. And so the next day, I'm just like, I can't find it. And it was in my pajamas. My PJs. I actually went to the hotel lobby in PJs and a T-shirt, my slippers. And that's where it was. But our whole world, right? And back to the chip in this whole thing. If you lose any of that, you're homeless. You've got nothing. You don't have nothing. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. All right, let's take our break. When we come back, we're going to talk big oil. This is Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight is Quittspiracy. What a great show, man. Jason, absolutely perfect. Our guest tonight is Jason Quitt. More Quittspiracies when we come back. I am your host, Jimmy Church. This is Fade to Black. Overtime is next. Stay with us.
You're listening to Jimmy Church and Fade to Black on the X.
Hey, what up, y'all? It's your girl, Vivica Fox here, and you are listening to my boy, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will.
This is Billy Carson, founder and CEO of ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. ForbiddenKnowledge.tv is the fastest growing and one of the most watched networks in the world. And I would like to personally invite you to check out our expanding library of TV, film, lectures, and special presentations. ForbiddenKnowledge.tv has over 6,000 videos covering lost history, health, UFOs, spirituality, and our future. We are committed to our community, and with my personal invitation, you can right now get your own free 30-day membership at ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Your own library of information starts today at ForbiddenKnowledge.tv.
Your 1 million gigawatt paranormal powerhouse, KUNX-DB, the X.
Are you ready to read about true paranormal events? Unx Media publishes nonfiction books about UFOs, ghosts and haunted places, time anomalies, cryptid creatures, and more. Just like KUNX-DB Radio, it's all about unexplained phenomena. Visit www.unxmedia.com to see our list of great book titles by Debbie Ziegelmeyer, Gene Walker, Devin Listrom, Wayne Lawrence, Bill Spicer, and yours truly, Margie Kay. That's unxmedia.com.
When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Yes, River Moon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
This is Yosef, Brittany, Gabby, and you're listening to JamieChurchRadio.com.
You're listening to Jimmy Church and Fade to Black. On the X. It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Jason Quitt is with us. We're now in overtime, and Quittspiracy, allegedly, Quittspiracy number 11, will renumber everything like the Catholic Church did with the Ten Commandments, right? And we, and we'll say with the Catholic Church, we can do whatever we want, right? So the next one will be Quittspiracy number 12. The next conspiracy, is there a global conspiracy to withhold free energy? All right, now I'm going to hand this off to you.
Okay, well, I'm just going to start by the opinion that nothing is free. There's always an exchange. Resources are needed for technology, so we can build technology, store or if it's a type of battery, we need something to receive it, store it, and send the energy. And what a lot of people think of free energy is somehow to tap into a technology that has something like a perpetual motion, so you can just take the energy off something that is constantly moving. Then there's other theories of, 0 point or tapping into the ether. And the theory behind that is all space and time, all energy can be located in one single point. It's almost like a hologram, like everything is in the one. So if we can find that point and tap into it, then we have access to all the unlimited energy of all of creation. So we have these ideas of what free energy is. And I would just put this out there is right now with oil and gas, when we have a resource like oil and gas, it puts a cap on how much material we can take from the earth to build products and things like this. Because to go and get materials and resources from the earth, it takes energy to get and build these products. So if oil is expensive or gas is expensive, or the energy you use to get these are expensive, it's harder to create and get these products. So if free energy did come onto the scene and now you don't have to pay anything to take resources from the earth, I think people are going to be going a little wild on creating things and taking things even more now than before. So the conspiracy also comes from, it's been with us for a very long time, all the way from Nikola Tesla. And I'm a huge fan, as you know, of Nikola Tesla. And he was creating wireless electricity back in the early 1900s. And there's also a conspiracy where Nikola Tesla created a car that actually could run on receiving energy from the air.
Signals, yes.
And that would power the battery or the engine of the car without gas. And that only comes from one source. And that source also says that Nikola Tesla came from Venus. So, we don't know how accurate that car is because there's no other documentation of that car. But he did have wireless electricity, and he had hundreds of patents that were actually taken and classified after his death. So we know that there's technology. We know that there's things that Tesla did that is still not out in the open. And even his tower that could send wireless electricity virtually around the planet using different oscillations of frequencies like a Tesla coil does, could potentially, you could power things remotely anywhere on the earth. And people think that it was, from the air, but he was actually using the earth. The earth was like the copper
wire.
The copper wire. That's right. That's right. So there's all this information out there of using the earth as the dynamo that could transfer frequencies of electricity across the planet. This is 100 years ago, more than 100 years ago.
There is now this is where I'm going to jump in really quick. One of the things that blows my mind, and this is fact, okay? Hydrogen fuel cell. Now, the hydrogen fuel cell that you power up with hydrogen, that you would go and, hook your car up and fill up your hydrogen tank full of hydrogen. And now, how does this work? Well, now, this is the basic thing that messes with my head. Okay? Hydrogen goes in, gets separated over the fuel cell, passes over these metallic elements, and there's a chemical reaction there, and then energy is created. And then the hydrogen then combines back with oxygen and comes out of the exhaust pipe as water. That water vapor, you can go up to the tailpipe of a hydrogen fuel cell vehicle and put your mouth on it and breathe it. Okay, it's steam. It's water vapor that goes back into the atmosphere and rains, right? And now, where would we get hydrogen from? Now, you can get it naturally, right? You can also get it from the ocean. So you have not oil, but you've got the earth covered in ocean water. You take the ocean water out, you separate it, you get your hydrogen. The oxygen, right, is separated, goes back into the atmosphere. Think about this. It's like perfect, right? Then the hydrogen goes into the fuel cells, comes back out as water vapor, feeds the oceans again, and, atoms don't disappear, right? They're always there. So you're not burning, right, oil. You are actually in this cycle of water out of the ocean, creates your hydrogen, put it in the car, it comes back out as water vapor, replenishes the planet, and then goes back into the oceans, right? Now, doesn't that sound pretty cool? It does, right? Now, why wouldn't that be the way that every car, forget about electric vehicles and everything else, why wouldn't that be the way that this planet is running right now? And so, well, why? And it goes back to the basis of this conspiracy theory. As long as there's oil and there's money to be made, and the less oil there is, as we burn it up, the more expensive it gets to be, and it's more profitable. So until we go to no oil, it's going to stay there because the distribution networks are in place. When I spoke to different people in the oil industry about this and why don't we have hydrogen fuel vehicle, cell everywhere? Well, we would have to build the plants to get the hydrogen from seawater. Okay, so build them. Well, it costs money. Build them. Well, then we have to have the distribution networks put in. We have to have a new distribution network, and we have to have new gas stations that are, so do it. I mean, it's like it doesn't make any sense. We have all this water. The water isn't going anywhere. You're just repurposing it, and it's coming back out of the exhaust pipe of the cars. Then why isn't this? Well, why? Because there's oil. That's why we're not doing it. And until there is no oil, nothing's going to change. And the other part about oil that really freaks me out, it's not just oil, but it's the petroleum products that come from that. Of course, it's plastics and everything that is in use there. It's lubricants that you need in the engines to power things. We have the entire airline industry and freighters on the ocean and the trucking industry and cars that suddenly, how would all of this get replaced with another source, right? We would have to have new airlines built, a new, everything would have to get redone. Well, it's going to have to get redone eventually. So why aren't we focused on that now? And if there is a free energy source out there, why aren't we pursuing it, even if it's just gradual and you slowly introduced it into society and we wean ourselves off of oil and build new designs? That's the crazy part of this conspiracy. The conspiracy is real. There are plenty of alternative sources of energy out there, but nobody wants to mess with it as long as we're pumping oil out of the ground and making money from it. And so is it 0 point energy? Is it free energy? Hydrogen fuel cell vehicles, solar. Why aren't there, and this just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, why doesn't every single electric vehicle, why isn't the body made out of solar panels? Why isn't it just made out of solar panels? Why? What's the deal with that? And I'm going to turn this over to you in just a second. But why, right? Wireless charger, right? You just slap it down. I've got one right here, right in front of me, right? Wireless charger, right? Why isn't that technology built into our streets? Right? So you're driving around in your car and you're charging while you're driving. Why don't you have a solar panel body on the car so you can just drive and you don't have to plug in, right? And use fossil fuels to charge your electric vehicle? Right? It doesn't make any sense. You're going to charge, you're going to plug your car into an electrical outlet that you've got a coal electric plant running, right? So you're creating more, just to suck the juice out for your electric car so you can feel good about yourself that you're driving a Tesla, but you're burning fossil fuels to get the electricity into your car to charge your batteries. What about the fossil fuels that are used to mine the lithium to build those batteries in the car? How much fossil fuels are used for that? It goes on and on and on, Jason. It is a very confusing thing. And it all goes back to, as long as there's money to be made, they're going to suppress this technology.
And I would say it's not just about the money. It's actually a form of control. They've set up an infrastructure where you could only use fuel and gas that they control, and they could set the price on commodities based on that. So it is a form of control, and that's why they call it the U.S. petrodollar as well. Mm-hmm. Now, when you're talking about hydrogen fuel cells, there is technologies out there that many inventors have tried, which is just electrolysis. Metal cells that use electricity, you put that in water, you run a current of electricity through it, and naturally the water separates from hydrogen and oxygen. It turns it into a gas, mm-hmm. and then it goes into the engine, and now you're fueling your car on hydrogen and oxygen gas.
And you could do that with if you had a solar panel on the roof of your car.
Yeah. So I agree. This technology works. And the crazy thing about it is there's patents for this. It's a known technology. And there's even a place in Ontario, I won't give the name of the place, but they're a wastewater management place. And they're using a patent by a guy named Stephen Chambers from Alberta. And he used, just like Tesla frequencies, he's using electrical oscillations of frequency, putting it into the wastewater, and he's turning the wastewater into nitrogen, oxygen, and hydrogen. It's going through his device in the waste management plant, and they're using that gas to power the entire facility. All right. So the wastewater is powering the plant, and it's actually creating so much excess electricity that it's feeding the grid. So they're actually getting paid now to send electricity into the grid. And this has been out there for years, but they don't really advertise it.
And that's almost a perpetual motion setup, right? If you think about it.
That's right.
And so the United States Patent Office, anybody that is suggesting that they have a technology where more energy is coming out than is going in, which is the definition of perpetual motion, right? Yes. They dismiss that patent. They won't even listen to it, the patent application. They won't listen to it because science has said that that is impossible. It can't happen.
So you can use it if you don't advertise it.
Right. And you can't patent it, and that's it. And you can't sell it.
And you were talking about a car and, facilities to, get the hydrogen from seawater. There's a car already approved for the roads in Germany and Switzerland. It's called the Quant E.
Yes. I talked about this on Fade to Black like 3 years ago.
And
it's a car that runs on seawater.
Just seawater, and it's completely proven technology, completely road safe. It has all its licenses, and any car on the market can switch to that engine. And all you got to do is just put some salt water in it, and you don't have to do anything else. So this exists. And, we're talking about free energy. I think using free energy is the wrong word. We need to replace it with clean energy. Energy that's you can recycle over and over again. And what you just said earlier, the seawater, these engines that exist that actually create electricity from water, drive the engines, drive the cars, drive the factories, and create more electricity to feed the grid. How can people ignore this? But they do. So that is why it's an absolute conspiracy. And there is this other story that came out that it was a metal plant. I think it was in the United States, a huge metal facility where they use a ton of electricity to melt that steel to keep those ovens hot. And what they did was they put this machine, this patented machine, where it's a water boiler. So the heat coming off these molten metal vats steams the water, and the water turns the steam turns turbines in the facility, and they're saving millions and millions of dollars of electricity costs per year because they've turned the heat in their facility into like a nuclear power plant.
Yeah, until since 1972, when the petrodollar system was created, which all oil on the planet is bought and paid for with dollars, American U.S. dollar, U.S. currency. And the amount of profits that the United States makes on that, we're talking about every barrel of oil, and that's the petrodollar. And the amount of money that has created for the United States, right? Until something happens where that changes, the petrodollar and the infrastructure that is there and the amount of money that is generated from that, until that is changed, we're not going to get off that system. And is there a way until, Shell and BP, these giant companies, until they have a way to replace that income, right, with selling hydrogen? You know what I'm saying? Sneeze live on the air. Until they have a way to tap into that. Solar power is not enough dollars there for anybody to start, doing a global switchover with this. And that includes electric vehicles and everything else. Right now, all of this is jaw flapping for climate change, and we're doing good for the planet. That's all that is. Everything else is going to stay in place until they figure out a way to replace that money. And are they going to be able to do it with hydrogen or these other sources? Not right away. No. And so the conspiracy will continue, Jason. It's not going to stop. And that's why this is a solid 4 pipes on anybody's measure that this is a real conspiracy by the oil companies of the world. That's it. It's not going to change. They control too much.
And they're really trying their hardest to switch it to electric power with batteries, but there's no infrastructure set up to charge those batteries. So it's like nothing, you can say, oh, we're going clean by going electric, but really you're not changing anything. In fact, we're probably going to have a bunch of rolling blackouts for years to come if they choose to do that.
Yeah. So I was at LAX yesterday, twice. And all the parking structures are the same there, but I was in parking structure 4. And on the first floor, it could probably hold, I don't know, a few thousand cars, right? On the first level. Half of the parking structure, there's like 6 rows, 3 rows, electric plugs, right? Charging stations.
Yeah.
And the other half were, gas parking spots. Do you know how many electric vehicles were in that 1,000 spots?
No.
2.
Oh, man.
3. Right? And so everybody else is driving around waiting for a parking spot to open. But I'm glad the charging stations are there. And if I had a Tesla, I'd be happy about that. Absolutely. I can pull up and charge my car. Cool. But it's not in use. There's not that many electric cars on the road. There's just not, and that's
going back to the Bilderberg, going back to the beginning of what we spoke about, Agenda 2030 and Agenda 50 in 2050. And we speak about this a lot in Canada at the House of Commons. Basically, they want to shut down the oil and gas sector in Canada, completely shut it down. They want no more, basically make it illegal for gas-powered cars by 2050.
Yeah, I saw that.
And if that's the case, there's 30 million cars in Canada, I think. 30 million cars in Canada. If that were to all switch to electric, think of 30 million cars plugging in and charging every single night.
Now, what does that do to the employment rate of the city of Edmonton? Right.
Completely destroys it. And this is why everybody hates the government here, is that they don't understand. Look, we know about climate. We know about the climate. We know about pollution. We know about all these things. But we need actual solutions instead of just let's destroy our economy, get rid of all these jobs and then just say, okay, we're going to figure something else out.
Mm-hmm.
But the solution has been there for a long time, but they don't want to admit it because they'll lose their grip of control. So they need something else where they can look like they're doing something good and green, but still maintain their power and control.
Yeah, that's right. You hit the nail on the head. It's just jaw flapping.
Yeah.
It's just an image thing about being green. Hydrogen fuel cells and the technology and the idea behind it and what it actually does and where the hydrogen comes from and what is the byproduct out of that exhaust. It's like the craziest, coolest thing ever. Nobody wants to touch it. And as long as oil is being pumped out of the ground, there's, it's just not going to happen. Look on a map and look at, you're in Toronto. Mm-hmm. Look at how many hydrogen gas stations are in Toronto. 2, right? So it's just the way that it is. What a great show tonight, Jason. I got to jump out of here. The network's going to cut us off in a few seconds. The new book is out. Everybody can get that over at the Crystal Sun.
Yeah, and Amazon.com or CA or wherever you're from. The Egyptian Postures of Power. definitely pick that up.
Thank you so much, my friend. We've got to circle back and get to the Vatican secrets on that. That was absolute, and Josephus. We've got to go do that. We've got to do Tacitus. That is a mind-blowing situation that I've got to jump into. And with that, I got to get out of here, Jason. I got to roll credits, and I'm going to get cut off in 20 seconds. So behave and be well. Jason Quitt, everybody. Quittspiracy number 11. Thank you, Jason. Have a great night. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. This is Fade to Black. What a great show tonight. Tomorrow night, Freddie Silva is here. Fade to Black is produced by Hilton J. Palm, Renee, Dennis, and Kevin. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Vitoa, Mark D. Kovar. Webmasters, Drew the Geek. Music, Doug Aldrich. Intro, Spaceboy, SpaceboyMusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJ Sierra for the Game Changer Network, and this broadcast is on a copyright of 2022 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network, Inc. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Until tomorrow night with Freddie Silva, I want everybody to be safe. It's time to fade to black.